In 1935, a vast fire destroyed the film studios of the Chinese company. Prior to World War II, this company was considered one of Europe's most important film companies, and its studios was Italy's most important film studios. After a fire destroyed the film studios of the Chinese company was bought by Carlo Ronconi. Ronconi bought 600,000 square meters of land along the Via Tuscolana and made Cinecittà using Mussolini's regime's backing. Cinecittà was inaugurated by Benito Mussolini, his son Vittorio, and his head of cinema Luigi Freddi, under the slogan Il cinema è l'arma più forte, which means cinema is the most powerful weapon. At that time, Cinecittà was a complex consisting of 73 buildings, including 21 sound stages, power plants, and management offices. Carlo Ronconi, a personal friend of Luigi Freddi, was the head of Cinecittà until the day of his death in 1938. After the death of Ronconi in 1938, Cinecittà was taken over by the state. It was relaunched in 1941 as part of the fascist government's scheme to boost film production. For spread of fascist propaganda in Italy, dictator Mussolini used the studio school Cinecittà. This studio possessed a very important place in Italy's art scene. Most of the prominent Italian filmmakers of the time either directly made films for Cinecittà or were forced to make films according to Cinecittà's standard. People like Visconti were essentially fascist and they were active in that film, but the most powerful role was played by Roberto Rossellini. Rossellini and Vittorio Mussolini, Mussolini's son, were among the writers who wrote the script for Luciano Serra pilot. This movie won the Mussolini Cup for Best Italian Film at the 1938 Venice Film Festival. Rossellini himself made 3 movies in line with fascist propaganda: The White Sheep, 1941, A Pilot Returns, 1942, and The Man with the Cross, 1943. He later said he doesn't want these 3 films to be in his filmography and denounced them, leading to many people not knowing about them. In the last 2 years of World War II, Cinecittà was occupied by the Nazis, who used them as a concentration camp for arrested partisans. They were arrested in an operation codenamed Whale Operation, first taken to Cinecittà and then sent to Germany. With the liberation of Rome in 1944, the retreating German army took away most of the technical equipment: cameras, projectors, sound systems, and films. The Allied forces in turn used it as a shelter for displaced people who had lost their homes due to the bombing. To survive the cold, the displaced people, who were from different nationalities, burned most of the archival documents. Cinecittà survived the war and fall of Mussolini. After Mussolini's death, Italian cinema returned to its original course, and Italian neorealism started talking about the dark period. Who started this new wave of Italian cinema? Mussolini with Rome, Open City. After that, people like Visconti with La Terra Trema and the Sica with Bicycle Thieves. Later, Cinecittà became the symbol of what will happen if one tries to use cinema as a tool to spread an ideology. An unfortunate symbol indeed. Each filmmaker that was trained for fascism later made films against it. The economic competitiveness of Roman studios, also thanks to a special law that did not allow foreign producers to export the profits made in Italy, American productions were compelled to film their movies in Cinecittà. These movies' success and popularity of sword and sandal genre, nicknamed Sandolani by the local laborers, led to Rome being dubbed as Hollywood on the Tiber. From the end of 60s, due to the growth of television, the end of colossal productions of historical nature, and the parallel crisis of the Italian film industry, Cinecittà gradually lost the technical and productive leadership it had. Cinecittà, with its adventurous past and despite many fires it faced, and even being bombed by the Western Allies, is continuing its work. The latest fire was in 2018. And even though these fires destroyed parts of its historic sets, a movie-themed amusement park, Cinecittà World, opened in July 2014, which displays the historic sets of this studio. In its 80 years history, over 3,000 movies were made in Cinecittà, of which 47 won an Academy Award. Sets like Jerusalem from The Passion of the Christ by Mel Gibson, Submarine from U-571 by Jonathan Mostow starring Matthew McConaughey, and Streets of Rome from HBO TV series Rome can be seen there. Sets of this studio are so beautifully constructed that visitors spend a long time wandering around there. Many movies, including Cleopatra, The Godfather 3, The Fellini's Casanova, was made there. The statue of Venus used in that movie is still on display there. TV series like Borgia, Medici, and Catch-22, directed by George Clooney, an episode of Doctor Who set in ancient Pompeii were filmed there. Remake of Ben-Hur in 2006, Gladiator by Ridley Scott, Gangs of New York by Scorsese, Zoolander 2, Pinocchio, starring Roberto Benigni, was also made there. Blue Fairy Carriage is on display there. Attention to details when making sets can be seen up close. Roman Forum is remade so good that Italian paleontologist and writer Alberto Angela used the set there for one of his documentaries about Roman Forum. The famous Teatro 5, the spacious studio that Fellini used for making La Dolce Vita and Fellini's Casanova and was like a second home to him, is still there. He wrote the script for many of his films there. Even though in July 2012 another fire damaged Teatro 5, but it can still be visited. For filming La Dolce Vita, over 80 locations, including the Via Veneto and Dome of St. Peter's, was created. For remaking Ben-Hur, a complete lower deck of a ship was made. And for making Paolo Sorrentino's series, The Young Pope, interior of the Sistine Chapel was reconstructed. It's the inside of Teatro 1, although it's empty in these videos, but its great acoustics highly increase the quality of the sound being recorded there and is suitable to make the sets required for movies. These are the clothes used while filming The Leopard, a 1963 film by Luchino Visconti. It's the clothes worn by Massimo Troisi as Pulcinella in Captain Fracasca's Journey, 1990. This is the camera that Mussolini rolled for the opening of Cinecittà. Western section of Cinecittà. The stuff used by great actors and directors are on display.